I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, I've had a couple of comments here in my YouTube channel. A few people have asked me about this. They're saying, Owen, you know, could you do a blog on what to look for in buying your first home, your first condo? A starter condo is this guy's stuff. The last one I did was that he saw on my YouTube channel was in 2012. Probably was. It's been maybe been a while. I'm not sure if I've done any since then. Maybe not. So it'd be interesting to get an update on what to look for when purchasing your first condo. Okay, so let's do that. So, you know, when you're buying your first condo, the two things that when I'm contacted by a buyer, young buyer, let's say, that wants to get into his first place, of course, there's two things. Neighborhood, where do you want to live, and your budget. Those go hand in hand. So, you know, neighborhood first, but, you know, of course, you know, a lot of people want to live downtown in the West End or Cole Harbour or Yaletown. But the thing is do you have the budget for that? So if the budget's unlimited, first off, or you've got a decent budget, then I would say neighborhood should be your first selection. Where do you want to live? Where do you currently work? Do you enjoy riding the seawall? Is your fitness club downtown, or a lot of your friends and entertainment downtown? Then, hey, downtown Vancouver somewhere would probably be the best fit for you as part of your lifestyle. However, though, that goes hand in hand with budget. Oftentimes, guys will say, "Well, yeah, I'm currently renting downtown. I love it here. I work downtown. A lot of my friends are renting downtown. I like to go to Canucks games and ride my bike on the seawall. But my budget is $550,000. Well, unfortunately, with that, downtown is probably going to be out of the question. Maybe we could get you a studio with no parking, but chances are we're going to have to look outside the city. So no problem though. What I might suggest to a guy like this might be Central Richmond, Brighouse, downtown Richmond on SkyTrain, or perhaps even New Westminster or Burnaby on SkyTrain. So there's options there, but those would be the first two things that we've got to settle. Where do you want to live? If budget's no issue, then, you know, is it downtown or Burnaby or whatever? Usually goes hand in hand with a budget though. First-time buyers, of course, are always going to have a budget. If that budget is $450,000, then hey, we're probably going to be looking at maybe Richmond or Burnaby or New Westminster, or we might even have to go across the bridge to Surrey. But those would be the first two things to look at. The second thing I would say is, of course, hire a experienced realtor. Because let's say, for instance, if it's a first-time condo, your budget is $460,000 max. Well, you know, we're probably going to be looking at a little bit older condo. If it's in Richmond, you know, there's still some excellent, good, older buildings in Brighouse. These are 30-year-old, 35-year-old wood frame that are well taken care of. You know, unrenovated units, maybe $375. A renovated unit you could probably pick up for $450. But, you know, the thing that you need to be careful of here is the strata corporation you're buying into. There are some condos that are renovated at $450 that are incredible. Fantastic, well-run stratas, good money in the contingency fund, proactive. You could have another unit right across the street selling at the same $450 where the strata is a mess. No money in the contingency fund, all kinds of stuff coming up. They've deferred a lot of the maintenance work, a lot of the upgrades, yet they're selling at the same price. So an experienced realtor here will navigate through that. If someone was interested in Richmond, for instance, you know, I have a list of probably 10, 12 really good older stratas that are within that $450 or less price category. Now, there might be nothing listed. As I look, you know, right now, I don't think there's anything listed in any of my favorable stratas in Richmond. But something will come up later this fall or into the winter. Sometimes they come in bunches. Sometimes you might see 2 or 3 of them come up in a week. So something will come up. It's a wait and see. And just keep an eye on it. But there's also lots of other stratas maybe that I'm not 100% familiar with. So you want to keep a close eye on it and just wait for the right unit to come up. The other thing I would say is, you guys know my golden rule, whether it's a first-time purchase or you're upgrading to a bigger place, 8 to 10 year holding period, hopefully, or longer. And for a number of reasons. The first reason I always say is that 8 to 10 years will probably guarantee pretty much that you will have some capital gains. You will have some profit in that home. In the early years, you could easily be down, buy a condo today and be down 10 or 15% in the next couple of years. Holding it 8 to 10 years, pretty much solidifies the chance that you're going to have some capital gain in there. Even if the markets stay flat for a number of years, you know, you're doing a tremendous amount of damage with our current interest rates. Yes, they're going up, but when you're under 6%, you are doing some fairly decent damage, not as much as you were when we were at 2%, but you're doing some pretty decent damage every year to that principal, chipping off principal. But the other thing is which I've talked about many times here, is the friction costs in buying and selling real estate in British Columbia. It's extremely expensive. So when you buy, if it's a first-time place, try and have a longer term holding period, something you can maybe grow into a little bit, that you can keep for 10 years or more. Now, circumstances can change, and maybe in 5 years you're up $100,000 on the unit, you want to sell, you've got some money, and you want to move into a bigger place. No problem. But you want to try and buy something with a long-term holding period. I think 10 years. For those friction costs alone, remember, you've got the PTT going in, biggest task grab going. You're going to have a set of conveyancing fees. And then the big one is when you sell it, you know, you're going to have real estate commissions. And, you know, this is how I make my living, buying and selling homes. And I'm telling you guys, if you can, hold on to these homes as long as you can. You know, you're looking at a typical one-bedroom condo at 400 grand, you're looking at 15,000, 18,000 in real estate commissions, plus another set of conveyancing fees. You know, if these are investment units, then you're also going to have capital gains tax on it. So, you know, that's the other reason. Try and buy these homes, even if it's your first time place, you know, with a little bit longer hold to avoid those heavy friction costs here. Let the capital gain compound, tax-free, enjoy the home. You know, if you're handy, you know, sometimes I'll have young clients that are pretty handy. They can renovate, put down new flooring, put in kitchens. They might need to bring a plumber or an electrician in to do other things. Those can be a good opportunity. You know, if someone like that, I would probably steer them towards an older, unrenovated unit that they can put some sweat equity in. And that's a tremendous way to get a better purchase price, for sure, on a unit that's maybe 30 years old in original condition, because of course the buyers for those type of units are much smaller. Most buyers out there want something turnkey, and they'll pay a premium price for that turnkey. If you are handy or have connections with tradespeople and renovators, then you definitely will get a much better purchase price on buying something a little older that needs a renovation, for sure. So, of course, the other things are, you know, the layout of the home, again, parking or storage locker. But the big thing, remember, when you're buying a condo, any condo, is the strata corporation you're buying into. So make sure your realtor has a good handle on the area you're buying in, has a good list of good quality stratas that he knows and is familiar with, or she knows. And if not, then you have that realtor and yourself, you will do your due diligence. You write an offer with subjects, read all the strata documents, read the depreciation report, get a home inspection done, all that good stuff before you remove the subjects, because it is a minefield out there. And I see condos in downtown Vancouver that the stratas are not very well run. If you did a little bit of homework on it, you'd realize that there are a lot of things coming due. The strata fees, have not been keeping up with what's needed to be done in the building. Not a lot of money in the contingency fund, and they defer things, which causes more problems down the road. That's selling at $700K. You got another unit just down the street that's selling at that same $700K for about the same square footage, where that strata is mint money in the contingency fund, proactive strata, nothing really coming up, and yet they're selling at almost the same price. So this is why you hire a pro. That's what you're paying on the buying side. The seller is paying my commissions. So hire a pro that knows those areas and will do the due diligence and help you find the right condo at the right price in a strata that's, you know, relatively well run. Remember, older stratas, there's nothing that's ever going to be perfect with a 30-year-old building. There's always going to be some things coming up, but some are far better than others, that's for sure. So hopefully that helps a little bit, gives you some of the parameters. Your budget, your neighborhood should be top of the list, and that will determine kind of where the neighborhood is going to be based on your budget as well. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.